Hello everyone and welcome to a quick guide on how to survive the wilderness. Now this guide, whilst beneficial to everyone, is specifically aimed at those that don't want to get into combat, don't really want to have a fight in the wilderness, they just don't want to get PK'd. So if you're one of them people that have that dreaded feeling when you go into the wilderness, then this guide is definitely for you. Now there's so many things that you can do now to stop yourself getting PK'd, it's actually quite safe if you're very careful and do the following things. The first thing you want to do is just turn your private either to friends or off. And the reason for that is if anyone sees you in the wilderness or if you talk in the wilderness, they can add you and follow you to whatever world you go to. So that's the first thing that you do. The next important thing that you need to do, you need to go to your settings and under control settings, player attack options, make sure that is hidden. And that means you cannot skull. So now, under no circumstances, can you click on someone and initiate combat. Now, there's so many skull tricks out there, and they're so clever with how they do it. Sometimes they just have two accounts with very similar names, and you don't know. You're clicking on another account, which gives you the skull. You go to pick up something in the wilderness, and they log in exactly where you're stood. And whilst you're clicking on the floor, it instead clicks on them and gives you the skull. And the last thing you want to do is lose those three precious items that you should be perfectly safe to keep in the wilderness because you have no intention of fighting anyone. The next thing I recommend is knowing the PvP multi-combat areas. It's fairly easy to survive 1v1 in the wilderness, unless they're maxed or you're in a high level, but it's very difficult to survive if you get a team on you. So knowing where the multi-combat areas are is very useful. So here's a map just so you can see. So this is the wilderness map. All the red areas are the multi-combat areas. Always try to avoid them if you can. Although I will show you how to not get PK'd even if you do get a team come up to you in those areas. But teleporting especially to those areas, they can be camped and it is incredibly risky doing that because they can get the teleblock on before you even see. The next few things I'm going to show you are using the client's runelite. Now that's just a client that runs old school RuneScape and it has some add-ons, just quality of life things that make the game a little bit easier, a little bit more beneficial, but not to the point where it's going to make the game easy. Just helpful little things, and it's approved by Jagex, so you're perfectly safe to use it. If you want to download it, you go to the site runelite.net. So once you have that, if you want to use this, you go to the configuration up here, and if you go down to player indicators and configure that, you can then select it so it shows you. If you look at my mini map, I'm here for a reason because there's always people here, although I am in a safe area at the moment. And you can click highlight others, so you can highlight people from your clan, friends, all things like that. But the main one you want to do is highlight others, and that highlights them in red. And once you've done that, typically there's no one around me at the moment. Oh, there you go. So, as you can see on the mini map, look at all the red right now. And as soon as anyone's here, it shows you. And this is fantastic because if someone's just on the edge of here, they can't quite attack you. And it normally shows up much faster than the dot does. So sometimes you'll see the writing coming in rather than the dot. So you see a little bit further. And that means by the time they try to cast teleblock on you, you've seen them coming a mile off. And you can hot worlds, log out, whatever you want to do. The next thing I want to show you is to quick log out or quick change worlds. This is amazing in PvP. This is probably the one main escape that's going to change a lot of things for you and make it so much easier. Where you're not fearing going into the wilderness or you're not worried about going into the wilderness anymore. If you don't want to get PK'd, there's so many options, if you like, that you really shouldn't do anymore. So the next one is World Hopper. Now on World Hopper, you can change these to whatever you want. The default is, let me just reset it so you can see the default. The default is CTRL, Control, Shift, and Left to go to the previous world. Control, Shift, and Right to go to the next world. Leave this one ticked. It starts off as ticked. Quick hop out of dangerous worlds. Now that means it's not gonna ask you a question about hopping, and it's also not gonna take you to a PvP world. It's not going to take you to an even more dangerous area or a high risk world, for example. Quick hop region, you can change this. Oh, I'll have a genie lamp. Thank you for the agility. This is like, thank you for the guide. Have some agility experience. So the next thing you can do is quick hop regions. So you can actually pick this. This is useful outside of PvP as well. So you can actually change that to whatever you want. Now, when you're in the wilderness, I recommend changing this to one key only. So I generally have the Alt. Okay, one thing I will say, you can't have this open. If I try to world hop now with this open, it won't work. I have to close this before it will. So make sure you don't leave this open and catch yourself out. Now, as soon as I see anyone coming towards me in the wilderness, I just have to press ALT. I just have to press the Alt button, and I've changed world. I mean, there's no one getting near me. Even if they logged under, I would still get away. There's no one. The only way someone... See, I always think the biggest problem with the wilderness is people know where to camp. And they're going to camp somewhere like the altar where you're over in your inventory, you're moving bones, you're not on the world. That's the only reason they get you. The only reason they get you before you can log out. If you're not quick enough sometimes. Whereas when you only have to press the Alt button, you can literally be doing this, looking at your mini-map. As soon as anything red's on there, press the Alt, gone to the next world. Change it by region, you'll hop 10 worlds, so they can't even just hop to the next world, presuming you might do that. There's literally no way, really, to get attacked unless you're not paying attention in the wilderness. And if you're dreading the wilderness, you will be paying attention. You'll probably be sweating, thinking, oh my god, I hate this place. But I tell you now, you'll feel so much more comfortable. So now what we've done, we've made it so they can't follow you, so that they show up very easily, that they can't skull trick you, and that if anyone comes within 100 yards of us, we can hop before they can tally block us. So you're very safe at this point. But I will just show you one more thing that's important, because I don't think many PVMers really get this side of PvP, and that is everything in the wilderness is aggressive. The next thing I want to show you, if you do get caught and you happen to be in combat, this is why it's so much more difficult to escape in multi-combat to single combat, because there is a trick to escaping in single combat, and that is, if you're not attacking back, everything in the wilderness is aggressive. If you can take the person attacking you past something that is aggressive, that will attack them, then you're out of combat with that player because you haven't been attacking them, so everything is free to attack that person. So for example, if I had a PKer on me and he was chasing me and I ran through this graveyard now, I wouldn't get attacked because I'm already under attack from the player that's following me, but he would because I have not attacked him. So as soon as he is attacked by any of these, you are then going to become out of combat with him. He can't attack you, and all you want to do is get yourself to somewhere safe where nothing else can attack you, and get ready to log out or log world and just spam it. Finally, if the PK gets into combat themselves and you accidentally or purposely get into combat with something else that's not the PKer, just at the time when your internet goes off. Now, I would never recommend that being done on purpose because that's against the rules, but should you accidentally trip and fall at the point when you get into combat with something else, the game will X-log you after a period of time, which means even though you're in combat, it will still log you out. Again, I am not promoting that whatsoever. It's a dirty, horrible trick, like killing someone in the wilderness that doesn't have any gear to fight you back. So the next thing I want to show you, which is quite important, is if you're attacking something but they are not attacking you back, you are free to log out in the wilderness or hot worlds. So if you're attacking something and it isn't attacking you back, like this lava dragon right now, I can hot worlds anytime I want. As long as I'm not getting attacked, I can hot worlds. So if a PK logs in now, I have my quick hop ready. In fact, even if he logged under me with no skull, I'd see the red writing on the minimap and he would be able to attack me. There's literally no way at all that you're dying here unless you take your eye off the minimap when you're going to collect the bones or things like that. But it's actually perfectly safe because no one can get to me quick enough to put anything on me before I see them and I just press one key. So I'll just show you now. I'm in combat in the middle of the thing, still firing, and I'm going to press Alt and I've just hot worlds. And it's that simple. When you're running through the wilderness, also try not to get into combat because that is going to stop you from being able to log out. If this video helped you out, please drop a like. I also do a lot of challenge videos, and the current series I'm doing is buying RuneScape back one chunk at a time. If you like that type of thing, please drop a sub. I have new videos out every single week. There's always something new coming out. Thank you very much for watching.